But it is certainly going forward at about 30 miles per hour. So Blocker about 112, Featherston about 120, Russellville 131, Quinton about 134, Louisville about 143, as well as Enterprise. And we're looking at Kinta at about 146. And eventually, as you get here toward the end of this, we've got Whitefield here, we've got Porham here, kind of on the far edges of that tornado warning. So again, just monitoring this as it does track off to the north and to the east. Now let's, again, take those tornado precautions. If you see that you are in this area here, northeastern portions of Pittsburgh County and into far northwestern portions of Latimer County and here into western portions of Haskell County. So let me take that track off of there. We're going to zoom a little closer here, right where that circulation is. And that's that area that we were looking at earlier. And it continues to track here now to the north and to the east. Again, it's not very tight rotation, but it is certainly there. So we're looking here just now to the south and to the east of Bug Tussle and north here of Carbon. So there's our rotation. I'll draw it on here just to help you out just a little bit. Again, reds are outbounds and greens are inbounds. So here's our reds going in this direction, and here's our greens coming in this direction. And again, we're looking at this from the Fort Smith radar site, which is back behind me. So we're scanning in this direction. So there's our reds, there's our greens. Right there is the circulation. Fairly broad. Again, we don't have these reds and greens. They're not really tightly close to each other. We're not seeing a lot of bright reds and greens, but the rotation is there. And sometimes these do happen to spin up fairly quickly, so you just have to be cautious with these because it can happen really fast, and a lot of times it'll happen between a radar scan and it's not there, and then all of a sudden it's there. So again, that's where you have to be cautious with these. But there's that area of rotation. It's right here north of Carbon, to the south and to the east here of Bug Tussle. So just monitoring this closely. It's going to continue to track here off to the north and to the east, where that tornado warning has since been expanded to include parts of Haskell County. So we're looking here, Blocker up to around Featherston. We had these names, had these communities on here earlier with our storm track. We've got Quinton here, and now we start getting here into southern and western portions here of Haskell County, Kinta, and also here into north and western portions here of Latimer County. Fairly open area here, but again, as we go here from Drum over to around Adamson. Looks like this will stay to the north of Adamson, but may have to watch this area south of this rotation. May have to watch this area here farther to the south just in case we might be getting another area of circulation to possibly develop. There's a little notch right here, so just kind of keeping an eye on that. Looks like here still maybe slightly a bit of a notch, but nothing as prominent as what we've got with the northern circulation. Let me take them. We just got another update, so the circulation is now here compared to here. So we just got the new scan, and it has now moved here off to the north and to the east. So let me take that rotational track off so that doesn't confuse anybody. But again, we're looking here, Massey Point. We're south of Massey Point. This is going to come right up here, very close to Blocker. So if you are in Blocker, this is getting very close to you. Take those tornado precautions right now. And again, interior room away from any outside walls and windows. We've got Featherston here as well, farther to the north and to the east. Could potentially be in the track of this circulation as this continues to track off to the north and to the east. So again, we got to watch these closely. These little circulations, they can spin up pretty quickly. And again, right now we've got fairly broad circulation. These reds and greens are not really tightly close to each other, but sometimes it can happen very quick, and you just got to be a little extra cautious with it. Let's take a look here with the rotational track, and again, that shows up very well here. So we're looking here, the southern end here of Lake Eufaula. So again, this is continuing to track here off to the north and to the east. It's coming right across the lake here at the moment, and just to the south and west of Blocker. Switch this over. Let's take a look here. Probably nothing going to show up here. Nope, that's good news. This is a correlation coefficient. Sometimes that can pick up debris that gets lofted up into the atmosphere. And again, we're not seeing anything with that at the moment. Hail detector, much hail in this. Not a whole lot up here where the circulation is, but we are seeing some hail farther to the south as you get down to around Carbon. We'll do a quick look here. And again, potentially up to about 1 inch diameter hail half-inch diameter hail. So again, you get south here of where that circulation is, and there's a little more hail potential here to the south, out to the west now of McAllister and eastern portions here of Pittsburgh County. So again, potential for some half-inch to maybe inch diameter hail out of some of this as it continues to move off to the north and to the east. We'll take those off of there. Let's get back here to the velocity data. I want to get back up here to this area of rotation. And again, a fairly broad area here of rotation coming right across the southern portion here of Lake Eufaula. And again, Blocker, take those tornado precautions right now. Over to around Featherston, need to take those tornado precautions as well. I'm going to zoom out just a bit. We're going to take a look at some of the other storms around because I don't want to forget to any other areas. So I'm going to zoom out. We're going to switch this back over to reflectivity real quick, kind of get a look here with what we got here with our warnings. And again, there's our lone tornado warning. That's the circulation that we've been tracking. South of that, we have that severe thunderstorm warning. We just looked at that hail core, potential for half-inch to inch in diameter hail. That's going to track here into parts of Pittsburgh County. And we also have the severe thunderstorm warning to the north here that we tracked earlier. That is over McIntosh County, coming right into the Shakota area as well. But again, the main concern is with that tornado warning. But I am going to go ahead and track the southern end of this storm with that severe thunderstorm warning that we've got in effect here. Let's go ahead, pan a little closer, and track this area of the severe thunderstorm warning that we've got with potential for damaging wind gusts and hail. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick as well. Let's draw that just about ready to cross over here into Latimer County. And so we'll track that. Centerville about 106, Drum at about 112, Chile at about 116, Bowers about 118, Patterson about 121. So again, that's with the severe thunderstorm warning, potential for wind gusts 60 plus miles per hour, and potential for some hail up to about an inch in diameter with that line as it's going to track here into parts of Latimer County. So that's what we're tracking here with this part of the thunderstorm, the southern end of this. It's farther to the north here where we've got that potential circulation. So let me take that track off of here and let's switch this back over to velocity data so we can see how the air is actually moving within this area of thunderstorms. And right there's our circulation, right? It's still here. And let's zoom in just a little closer. Fairly prominent. Again, if not extremely tight circulation, there is some space here. There's a gap between our red outbounds and our green inbounds. So we have broad circulation right near the blocker area. So take those tornado precautions here. Blocker also here to around Featherston. Make sure you're taking your tornado precautions because that circulation, here it is, getting ready to come right near the blocker area, and it's going to come right up here to around Featherston as well. And we're just looking at basically almost right at blocker at the moment, and we're just a few miles away here from Featherston. Just got another update here, and again, there's that circulation. There's our green inbounds. There are our red outbounds. So that circulation is basically over blocker right now. So if you're in blocker, hopefully you are in your tornado safe spot. Make sure you're in that interior room, away from any outside walls and windows, and preferably that room be a fairly tight room like a closet or a bathroom, and protect yourself as well. Cover, if you can, cover yourself up or protect your head with a helmet, and make sure you got some good shoes on to protect your feet just in case you would happen to get any damage. Boots work perfect. That would be absolutely perfect. All right, Featherston, that circulation is going to be very close to you here in the next few minutes. Take those tornado precautions right now. We'll zoom out just a little bit more and then we'll go back in. I'm going to do an updated track on this particular area of circulation. I just need to zoom out and then zoom back in just to reposition the view so we have space to draw our track. So let's go ahead and get that track on here. Again, this is going to work its way up from far north and eastern portions here of Pittsburgh County up here into western portions of Haskell County. So let's go ahead and draw that storm track on there. What I do is just take this area here and just kind of draw it like this, and we're going to track that off here to the north and to the east at about 30 or so miles per hour. So we just talked about Featherston. Take those tornado precautions right now about the next minute or so. Russellville, we're looking at 121. Quinton, 123. Enterprise, 135. Areas around the Louisville area, we're looking at 137. Kinta at about 144. And again, Stigler, you're not in a tornado warning right now, but need to watch this here to your south and east. We have a storm that is producing some rotation. So need to still be ready here to possibly take those tornado precautions in Stigler, just in case this rotation would hold together as it does move up here, possibly into Haskell County, if it does manage to hold together. But there it is. I just got another update. That's fairly prominent here, very concerning here with this circulation. There's our green inbounds, our red outbounds. That is fairly prominent circulation. Hopefully it doesn't tighten up any more than what we're seeing right now, but we need to watch this closely. Let's go in just a little bit tighter. Let me take that to storm track off of there and go in a little bit tighter on this circulation, because those greens are fairly prominent at the moment. And what I may do, this is storm relative. I just want to see what it looks like with the regular velocity data. And there you can see the greens really popping. So let's see what we've got here with our wind speeds. I imagine some of these are probably 60 plus here. Yeah, there we go. So 76 miles per hour, 78 miles per hour, 65 miles per hour. So you can see those winds here that are blowing toward the radar are quite strong. Do keep in mind, we're not measuring these at ground level. They are up a little bit, so we're probably not getting these types of speeds at ground level. But you can see the air that is flowing around this circulation, especially the south side of the circulation. It's moving pretty quick. So again, it still could have some very strong wind gusts here, probably 60 miles per hour or so along the ground. And notice how we barely have anything here. So we've got a little bit of the forward speed of the storm, kind of negating some of the outbounds here, but still looking at this fairly broad area of circulation that shows up really well. And of course, again, notice those wind speeds, probably some fairly strong winds here around the blocker. Again, probably not getting those types of winds, especially that mid 70, probably not getting that down to ground level, but we're still getting some strong winds out of this storm as it does track its way off to the north and to the east. Here's another update. Let me put a few more of those on here. And again, take some of these brighter greens that are showing up. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I wanted to take a look at the wind speeds with this and not plot that tornado warning. Let's see if we can do this one more time here to maybe get that off. Let's see if we can just take that off if I can. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to allow me to do it. Let's see, try one more time. No luck. Let's pan here and we'll click right here. That should pop off. There it goes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at those wind speeds once again, just kind of plot some of these. And again, what we're looking at here with this rotation is the winds that are wrapping around kind of like the south side of this rotation, what we would almost call, basically call the RFD, the rear flank downdraft around this circulation. So again, we're getting some wind speeds here into that 76, 67 mile per hour range. Let me go a little bit farther south. Again, 66 miles per hour, 66 miles per hour. So again, probably, especially that 76, probably not that at ground level, but some very strong winds here from Blocker to around Featherston. The circulation is actually going to be a little bit to the north where we've got some of these strong winds here. The circulation is going to be up here where we've got the more outbound motion here. So again, let's switch this over to storm relative velocity, and that will help us look at where we got the reds. There you go. You can see the reds going this direction, the greens going this direction. So right there is the circulation. But again, south of that circulation, we are seeing some fairly strong winds. So we're probably getting some fairly strong straight line winds here from Blocker to now around Featherston. So as we pan farther here to the north, the circulation is getting closer now to around the Russellville area. We're getting now, here's the county line here with Haskell County and Pittsburgh County. So we've got to watch this here. Quinton, and eventually farther to the north here around Enterprise. We got to watch this closely. And we just got another update here. That circulation still fairly broad, nothing too tight, but it is there. And as we pointed out earlier, some fairly strong winds here, even just straight line winds coming right near the Featherston area and the Blocker area with this line of storms. I'm going to zoom out just a bit. Let's take kind of a look across the area. We'll get back in there. It looks like we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning here for parts of Cherokee County into Adair County. We're going to get a look at that in just a second. But Brandon, we have been quite busy here. We thought we might be continuing to track these storms. And what have you got for us?
That's right, Michael. Pretty much the storm's right on cue for tonight and overnight. You can see what we have from Dual Doppler, our rotation tracker. I put it back over the past 30 minutes and all the way through the present time. So as that rotation came out of the McAllister area off towards the northeast, right around Blocker and just to the east of that, but you can kind of see the trend over the past half hour that continues to move just to the east of Blocker. Now, if we go to the current shear rate, we'll stop it here at the current frame, and just northeast of Blocker, that's where we have the strongest rotation right now. That's going to be between Russellville and Featherston. So right here is where we have the strongest rotation currently being detected by the radar coming out of the Fort Smith area. So zooming down a little bit tighter, just northeast of Featherston, that is going to be our biggest rotation, strongest rotation at the present time, Michael. So we're going to have to really watch this over the next couple of minutes. And obviously, there it goes right there, the update coming in just south of Russellville. And that is going to be within our tornado warning. Goes all the way till 1:45.
That's exactly right, Brandon. And as you see, they're getting very close now to that Haskell County line. So got to watch this as it does track eventually here into western portions of Haskell County. And we do have that severe thunderstorm warning. I do want to point out here that has been issued also here up along the areas from southern portions here of Mayes County and southern Delaware County down into Cherokee County and Adair County. So let's zoom in a little closer here on these particular storms, and then we're going to get back down to the tornado warning, as Brandon was pointing out there with the rotation with that tornado warning. It has been very prominent as it's tracked off to the north and to the east. I am actually going to switch this over. Let me draw that out one more time, and I'm going to switch this over here to the Tulsa radar to scan these storms because that'll give us a cleaner view into these particular storms. And you can see here from Choteau back down to now approaching Hulbert, back down to around Fort Gibson. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for this as it's tracking off to the north and to the east. Let me try to draw that out. I'm going to have to zoom out and do that again. Did not mean to draw in and zoom that in there that far. So let's try that one more time here so we can get a storm track on this. And then what we will do is get us back to the south here to that tornado warning as that circulation continues to track very near the Russellville area. So let's go ahead and do a quick storm track here. Again, we're looking mainly at strong wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour with this, as it does track off here to the east and northeast, roughly at about 30 miles per hour or so. So Lost City here at about 117. Sportsman Acres here also in the next couple of minutes. Pumpkin Center about 119. Shady Grove 120. We're looking at Thompson Corner 122. Locust Grove at about 123. And again, the main concern with this is this continues to track its way across here, Cherokee County, Adair County, and southern portions here, Mayes County and Delaware County, will be the potential for damaging wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, maybe some small hail out of some of these as it does track off to the east. Now let's get back farther here to the south. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning here for Muskogee County into McIntosh County. Let's do a quick storm track on this one. This is coming right now near the Muskogee area. And you can see the leading edge of this line now between Warner and Shakota. That's also moving off to the north and east. Everything's been moving roughly about 35 miles per hour this evening. West Muskogee 120, Chieftain about 122, Warner about 122, Martin at about 125, Muskogee at about 125. And again, same with the storms that we were tracking just now to the north. Damaging wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, perhaps some hail, inch or so in diameter out of these. But we do have to keep in mind, this is down along that boundary. Occasionally, this storm, as earlier in the evening, was producing some rotation. So we still have to kind of keep an eye on this here. Right now, it is not. So that's certainly some good news. Now let's get south here. Let's get into the area where we got the flashing red. This is our tornado warning. And as Brandon was pointing out, that circulation has been quite prominent. So we're going to get here in the far eastern portions of Pittsburgh County. I'm going to switch this over to the Fort Smith radar, and we're going to look at storm relative velocity to scan the movement of the air within this storm. And there you can see showing up very well here, the greens that are really pushing forward, those inbounds that are really pushing forward now, just about ready to approach Quinton here near Russellville. And there are our reds that are going in the other direction, so we could still have that broad area of rotation here from Enterprise down to around Russellville. So again, gotta watch this for potential rotation and potential tornado formation. I will say right now the rotation is not very tight. Notice how we have a little space here between some of the reds and the greens, and we don't have the bright colors right next to each other. So that's an indication that we've mostly got broad rotation here. That being said, a lot of times these things can spin up very quickly, so you have to watch them closely. And a lot of times it's just a matter of less than a minute and it can go. A lot of times it'll be between radar scans, especially with these types of spin-ups that sometimes occur within these lines. It can be very quick. So that's why we're watching this area here from Russellville up to around Enterprise. Just make sure you are taking your tornado precautions right now. We do have a tornado warning here, and that circulation is continuing to lift its way off to the north and to the east. Let's continue to scan farther south down this line just to see if we've got any other rotation showing up, and I'm not seeing anything too concerning right now as we pan a little farther to the south. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning as we get south here. That does include Latimer County. So let me switch this back over to reflectivity real quick. And there you can see fairly strong storm here from Bowers back to around Higgins. And again, this is going to continue to move its way here to the east and to the north and east. I'm going to switch this over to hail detector. Earlier, we were getting some hail, possibly up to about an inch in diameter. This looks like it's come back down again. We'll do a couple clicks here right on the Pittsburgh and Latimer County line here. So basically maybe about a ½ inch. There's a one around 1 inch in diameter. So most of this is probably going to be non-severe hail within this storm, but some hail potential. The bigger concern probably as this tracks across Latimer County is going to be more in the way of damaging wind potential. So right here is Highway 270. Here's Wilburton. We've got Bowers here. So this is going to come right down 270 here through Red Oak and Hughes. And again, we're going to be watching that potential for some damaging wind gusts as that does move in. That's why you have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect here, perhaps some small hail. Let's go back to the north here. And let me remove those hail markers, and let's pan back to the north and get up to our circulation here. We'll switch this back over to storm relative velocity, and there's our circulation. Again, fairly broad circulation, but we just have to watch it close. Russellville, you're likely getting some strong wind gusts at the moment as you're feeling the air that is flowing from west to east. Those inbounds here that show up in green as we look here from the Fort Smith radar site have been fairly strong. And there you can see our red outbounds here. So that circulation's right near the Enterprise area. Nothing extremely tight with the circulation right now, but we just have to be cautious with it. We'll see what we're getting toward the end here of our tornado warning. So we've got Briartown here, we've got Porham and Whitefield. And again, need to watch this here right now, not under a tornado warning, but we've got circulation here just off to your south and west. What may end up happening, the circulation is not very tight right now. We could see this just extended as a severe thunderstorm warning, but if this circulation does show signs of tightening up, we might see that tornado warning issued farther to the north and to the east. So we'll watch this closely as that continues to move on. That being said, go ahead and be ready here. Porham, Briartown, and Whitefield with this rotation approaching here from the south and west. Again, Enterprise definitely need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Interior room away from any outside walls and windows. And make sure you've got a helmet on to protect your head, and you've got some good shoes or some boots on to protect your feet, just in case you would happen to have any damage. That way you are protected if you need to get back out after the tornado has passed through. Now, thankfully, nothing confirmed with this. We just have some rotation that is very concerning right now that is prompting this tornado warning. And again, sometimes these spin up very quick. So we just have to be cautious as this does move off to the north and to the east. And again, the rotation here, I'm not seeing anything that's giving me an indication that this thing's about to produce a tornado right now, but we've still got rotation that is certainly here from Enterprise and just to the north. So hopefully this tornado warning will be allowed to expire as this continues to move off to the north and to the east. That would be certainly some good news. But again, we still have a lot of storms out there as well that we'll have to monitor as we go through the night. Switching this back over to reflectivity data, and I am going to zoom out one more time just to kind of get a look here at what we've got. There's our severe thunderstorm warnings here from Mayes County, southern portions of Delaware County, includes almost all of Adair County, except far southern portions of Adair County, includes pretty much all of Cherokee County. That's going to come right into Tahlequah here with some wind gusts possibly up to around 60 miles per hour. We've got our severe thunderstorm warning down into Muskogee County. And then there's our tornado warning here for Pittsburgh County, western portions here of Haskell County, and far north and western portions of Latimer County. But the main concern here, that rotation's already moved now up into western Haskell County. And then farther to the south down this line, you can see additional severe thunderstorm warning here for Latimer County. That's what we've been tracking as that moves off to the east. So that's the area of concern. Again, if you're waking up in Tulsa this morning and a rumble of thunder got you out of bed and you're hearing the rain coming down, we're all good. We are fine. Don't have to worry about a thing. Just some heavy rain, maybe some localized flooding around the streets and everything. But we do not have to worry about any severe weather. We are in good shape here. But again, the areas now to the east where the airs have been a bit more favorable through the evening hours for severe storms, those are the areas that we are closely watching here as these storms continue to track their way eastward. And we're probably, just a timeline here, probably within about an hour, hour and a half of these possibly getting to the Arkansas line and eventually out of our area. So that may eventually wind down that severe threat here over the next perhaps hour and a half, maybe I'm going to say 2 hours max. But just watching these, Brandon, it has been a busy evening. I'm not even sure how long we've been on the air right now with tornado warnings, but it's been a very busy evening, and we continue to track some storms that need to be monitored in southeastern areas.
That's right, Michael. And aside from the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings we have currently on dual Doppler, we have some very heavy rain that's going on through other locations. And you can see from the National Weather Service in those green polygons, that's going to be a flash flood warning. So let's zoom down a little bit tighter. Right now, we're concerned about the Haskell area up towards Wagner and Choteau and Pryor, and including the Langley area. Zooming down a little bit tighter, you can see especially in those yellow pockets around Wagner and just to the north around Choteau, and including a little bit of the Pryor area. That's going to be some really heavy rain. So this is round number 2. Of course, we had round 1 late last night and overnight, and then we're going through it again. And it looks like that rain's going to continue in the shower form all the way through the early afternoon hours of today. The pockets of heavy to extreme rain, that's going to be in that purple color, and that does include Pryor down towards Muskogee and just to the east of McAllister. And from the National Weather Service, we continue this flood watch all the way through your Sunday evening at 7 for the entire forecast area. When all is said and done, several inches of rain, and we're going to have to see the latest drought monitor situation as that's released on Thursday. And I think we're going to be in pretty good shape across the area after these several rounds of rain come right on through the region, Michael.
I appreciate that, Brandon. Again, the heavy rainfall is, as you mentioned, a big concern for us with this as we go through the overnight hours. And again, if you live in a flood-prone area, certainly want to be aware that you may have to head to higher ground. So still tracking again here. We got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got that tornado warning that's in effect here. The good news is the tornado warning does not look like it's going to be extended here. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning instead that has been extended farther to the north and to the east, include Haskell County, northern Haskell County, southern portions here of Muskogee County, and now eastern portions of Sequoia County. So let's go ahead up and down this line once again, and we'll do some storm tracks on this, and we'll get a peek at that rotation that has been a concern of ours as it's come across Pittsburgh and into Haskell County. Let's go in just a little closer here. And again, let's zoom in. Let me zoom in. There we go. That's the one I want. So let's zoom in here right over parts of Cherokee County and Adair County real quick. And again, there's our line of storms. I am going to switch this over to the Tulsa radar because that will scan these storms a little cleaner compared to the Fort Smith radar that's just a little bit farther away. So let me go ahead. Let me take that zoom off of there real quick. Let's switch this over to reflectivity. And again, we just get a little cleaner image because right there's the Tulsa radar site. Real close, good clean image. We like that. So here's our line of storms. You can see how it's bowing out here. We got a bit of a bowing out segment. So that can mean we got some strong winds pushing forward here, coming right near the Tahlequah area. If we do switch this over to velocity data, you can see again that forward motion here of the reds going in this direction and the greens going in this direction. We may have to watch here. Tell you what, Brandon, we may have to watch this little nudge here in the far north and western portions here of Cherokee County. That might be a little rotation trying to get going. It's not there yet, but that might be something that we'll have to watch here across northern portions of Cherokee County as that continues to surge forward. But let's go ahead and do a quick storm track. Right here's again, that's the leading edge of the outflow right here. That line is it. So that's where those wind gusts will start to pick up. So I'm going to take the leading edge of this outflow, and we're going to take that right here across Cherokee County, moving east at about 30 miles per hour or so. So Pumpkin Center, about 128. Let me go ahead and pan this over just a little bit so you can see a little better view here. We've got Zeb at about 128 as well, basically moving in pretty much as we speak. Snake Creek, 130. Also Green Country Estates, 135. Tahlequah, 136. So we're probably now within 10 minutes of potentially some very strong winds here moving into the Tahlequah area, Northeastern State University, Indian Meadows, 137. And again, within this, we're probably looking at 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, perhaps a little bit stronger. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Let's just plot a few areas here with these red outbounds, see what we've got. Nothing too strong here. That's certainly some good news. But again, potential for some winds to be quite strong as this does move here across parts of Cherokee County and Adair County. Let's switch this back over to reflectivity. There you can see that bowing segment that we're looking at. See how it's bowed out. Let's go farther to the south here where we have a severe thunderstorm warning here into parts of Muskogee County with this line continue to move on through. And I'm going to take the leading edge of the line here and track that off to the east, and we'll get those communities to show up here. And similar to what we saw farther to the north within the line, we're looking at mainly damaging wind threat here as this does track off to the north and to the east. So Pumpkin Center again here, 131. Greenleaf State Park, 131. We're looking at Weber's Falls, 138. Gore, 140. Gore Landing at about 142. Eventually to around Aqua Park at 143. And Qualls at about 143 as well. So again, mainly 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, perhaps some small hail as this moves on through. So just be mindful of that. Again, probably what you consider a lower-end severe thunderstorm warning, but 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, that's enough to knock a few things over. So we just got to be careful with this as it does move here off to the east. Let's go a little farther here to the south. Here's where we've got our tornado warning, which does look like it is going to be allowed to expire here once we hit 130. The tornado warning has not been extended here farther to the north and to the east to include Muskogee County or northern portions here of Haskell County. But let me switch this back over to Fort Smith radar because we are getting closer here to the Fort Smith area. And let's switch this over here to velocity data as well. Let's go to storm relative velocity. And there actually is an area here that we may need to watch right near to the west of Stigler. So might need to keep an eye on this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer, and you can actually see it on reflectivity as well. This area here near Whitefield, let's zoom in just a little bit closer. And so it looks like we might be trying to at least get a little area of circulation trying to develop. Again, it's not as prominent as what it was earlier, that's for sure. But this area right here near Whitefield and to the south and east here of Briartown. Let's switch this back over to reflectivity. You can see there is a little notch here right on the reflectivity. So we may have to kind of watch this closely here as this does track off to the north and to the east. So Stigler is here, just to give you an idea of if you're in Stigler, what we're looking at. This is going to be out to your west. So let's go ahead and pan here farther to the west. And you can see right there is that notch. So we got Whitefield here, Briartown here to the north. So this is right here's that little notch. And if we switch it over to storm relative velocity, you can see there is a bit of rotation here. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with this as we continue to closely monitor this area of rotation here. Basically right on the river is where we're looking at here from Haskell County to far southern portions here. Muskogee County. I'll be honest with you, that new scan, That's a little bit better. Right? I'm liking what I'm seeing there, but we still have a bit of a rotation here. Let's see what it looks like on reflectivity. There's still a notch here. So I will say it did look a little better there with the velocity, but we still have that notch showing up here, and it just lines up with what you would be looking for here with our outbounds here and our inbounds here. So right there would be that circulation. And if you notice, it just lines up perfectly right there with where we have that notch. So that's why I'm just kind of keeping an eye on this area here, right on the river here to the north and to the east of Whitefield. So again, just keeping an eye on this as that tracks off to the north and to the east. Let's zoom out just a little bit more and pan a little farther here to the south. You can see that line extends here into Latimer County. And the good news is that the line now moving into Latimer County, the severe thunderstorm warning that we did have in effect earlier has been allowed to expire. So that is certainly some good news there. So we like to see that. But still, that is a fairly strong line of storms coming on through. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. You're still going to get some gusty winds here coming right into the Wilburton area and also here back to around Hartshorn. You're kind of on the back edge of it here. But notice in this core, perhaps some hail as well here to the north and to the west of Wilburton. So again, just monitoring this closely here as it does move through parts of Latimer County. We'll pan back here to the north real quick. And I just want to keep an eye on that little notch that we've got here just now to the north and west of Stigler. Little hint of rotation, just kind of keeping an eye on that as that does track off to the north and to the east. So certainly just something to keep an eye on. Basically coming right down the river at the moment here, right on the Muskogee and Haskell County line. I'll switch this back over to storm relative velocity, and I'm not seeing anything too concerning. Again, just one of those things where you see it and you just, we need to monitor this. But as far as immediate concern right now, what we're looking at here is definitely fairly weak. So that's certainly some good news, but just one of those things that you just need to monitor, kind of keep an eye on just to make sure it doesn't strengthen over time as everything moves through. Again, the air that we have that is in place here in southeast Oklahoma is much warmer. It's more humid. You step outside in Tulsa right now, it's chilly, it's wet. That is not the case here to the south and east. It is warmer, it is humid. The air is much more favorable for storms to become severe. And we also have an environment in place with the wind shear through the atmosphere that these storms will have the potential to rotate. So that's what we're keeping an eye on here with this. Again, fairly broad rotation here, just monitoring it as it continues to track off to the north and to the east. So again, here's our update with our warnings. Let's go ahead and switch this back over to reflectivity data. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings here to the north. We've got southern portions here of Mays County, southern portions here of Delaware County, Cherokee County, and also Adair County under severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, Brandon, it has been quite busy this evening. We continue to track numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. We've had tornado warnings through, and then also the flood threat a concern as well.
That's right, Michael. Previously, we talked about that flooding situation across green country. Now we want to focus on that air mass that you were talking about just a couple of seconds ago. So very moist off towards the southeast. With regard to those dew points into the mid-60s in Wilburton, Sallisaw, and Tahlequah on the Mesonet, and 61 degrees right now in McAllister. So that favorable air mass is out there tonight across the southeast. 72 degrees, very impressive right now in Wilburton. But you compare that on the back side of the front to the upper 40s from Blackwell out towards 4 Acre and up towards the Copan area in northern Washington County. From the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center, we continue this tornado watch all the way through 7 o'clock in the morning. That has been extended all the way in throughout northwest Arkansas as well. In the latest map here from the Storm Prediction Center, we have that slight risk, or that level 2 out of 5. And then, especially as we get towards the early morning hours, even throughout the early afternoon, we have to deal with that enhanced risk off towards the east there in throughout Missouri and also the Arkansas area. Live right now in our Wade's RV weather camera network, very heavy rains all across eastern Oklahoma. And again, that flood threat, especially now with those flash flood warnings just to the east of Tulsa County. Michael?
Yeah, that rain certainly has been adding up, and we will have more rain and storms probably through Sunday morning. And for some of us, it may take until mid-Easter Sunday afternoon before these storms finally clear the area. So let's go ahead and again take a look at what we've got here across the region. We mentioned all the severe thunderstorm warnings, and as we pan farther to the, or zoom in here a little closer to the south, again, just monitoring some of these storms here, especially the one that I've been really monitoring is this one that earlier was prompting the tornado warning here across western portions of Haskell County and into north and eastern portions of Pittsburgh County. This is what's tracking right here through southern Muskogee County and now northern portions of Haskell County, just to the north and the west of Stigler. And you can see on the radar there are a couple little, at least on reflectivity, there are a couple little notches that are worth watching. And as we switch this over to storm relative velocity, thankfully I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out. This is an immediate concern, but just one of those things where, yeah, we're still getting a little bit of rotation along the leading edge of this line. You can see right here along the state line, just kind of keeping an eye on that area there. And if you switch this over to reflectivity, you can see there is a little notch here right where that lines up with the velocity data. So that's just kind of one area that we're just kind of keeping an eye on here. Nothing right now of immediate concern. Again, we don't have a tornado warning in this area at all. It's not rotating strong enough to have a tornado warning, but just one of those things where we just monitor as it continues to move on through. Let's go ahead and we'll switch this back over to reflectivity. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom out and then we're going to zoom back in. And then what we will do is do some storm tracks on these severe thunderstorm warnings, because we now do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Earlier it wasn't warned, it was, and then it wasn't. Now it's back to being warned here over Latimer County. So let's get back in here to Latimer County, where we've got some of these severe storms moving on through. That line continues to march its way right along here. Some of the heaviest rain and some of the hail with this just north here of 270. North of Wilburton. So again, just keeping an eye on this. Let's go in just a little closer here, and then we'll take this and pan here back to the north. And so look at this. This is probably a decent hail core here. Let's switch this over to hail detector and see what we've got. And there you can see, we'll do a couple of plots here. Half inch, we've got 1 inch hail, maybe about 1.5 inch diameter hail out of some of this here, especially this area that's moving just north here, 270. So we're looking here, northwestern portions of Latimer County, likely getting some at least a low-end severe hail. Again, severe hail has to be 1 inch in diameter, so we're probably looking at probably some severe hail out of this here, especially as you get north of Wilburton, as this continues to track off to the north and to the east. And along with that, potential for some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well. So let's take that off, and we'll switch this back over to reflectivity, and I'll do a quick storm track on this as it continues to move here off to the east and to the northeast. And most everything has been moving right about that 30 to 35 mile per hour range so far this evening. So that's what we'll take here off to the east and northeast. We'll get it out to about 30 miles per hour. And whoops, I did not mean to do that. Let's try that one more time here. And again, let me just give myself a little more room here. Let me push this back a little bit, and that'll give me a little more room to get that track on here. And so we'll take this right across Latimer County. Again, right now, with this particular storm, thankfully, we're not seeing anything that is prompting any rotation, but we will have to watch that closely just in case. So again, looking at our times here, Panola at about 1:45, Red Oak about 2:01. We're looking at McCurtain at about 2:06 and Cedar at about 2:12. So the strongest portion of the storm here, where that hail core is going to go over, kind of working across relatively rural part here. Of course, all of Latimer County is fairly rural, but especially here, the northern part of the county where the mountains are, that's where it looks like the strongest portion of this storm may track. But we'll have to keep an eye on that here. Again, especially along 270, you can still get some strong winds here up to about 60 miles per hour. But the hail core right now looks like it's just north of 270, may cross over here southern portions of Haskell County as this continues to move off to the north and to the east. So again, just monitoring that closely. Let's pan here a little farther to the north as we go up here into areas around Stigler, and now we're going to cross over here into areas in Muskogee County here, and now also into Sequoia County. So this area here, again, also damaging wind gusts going to be the main concern. This is also the same area, that we've been kind of watching maybe a little hint of rotation within this line, but nothing that has been prominent enough to prompt a tornado warning. But you can still see right on the leading edge of this on our rotational tracks and our rotation detector detector, we can see there is still some hints here of some rotation right on the leading edge of this line that we do have to keep an eye on as this does move on through. We'll switch this back over to storm relative velocity, and there are a couple little notches here. Let's just zoom in just a little bit closer, because again, this is the same storm that earlier was producing tornado warnings as it came across Pittsburgh County and also far western portions of Haskell County. Let me zoom in just a little closer here, and again, just a few areas of very weak circulation along this line. Let me try that one more time. There we go. And again, let's see if we can get that to plot in there. There it is. And let's just zoom in just a little bit closer here, and then I'll remove that severe thunderstorm warning graphic, get that off of there as well. But again, looking here, we've got, if I can get that out of the way, I'm just going to move that down there. There's what I want to look at. Here is where we've got that circulation. It's not very strong, but there's just a little hint of circulation here coming right down the river, and it's going to come over here, getting very close now to the lake, mostly here just off to the west of the lake, but just keeping an eye on this as it tracks off to the north and to the east. Again, we're not looking at anything that is prompting a tornado warning. That's certainly some good news, but just one of those areas we just kind of have to keep an eye on as it does track off to the north and to the east. Let's switch this back over to reflectivity, and again, there's our entire line here extending from southern Mayes County here into southern portions now of Delaware County. This is about ready to cross on through, and it's also moving right into the Tahlequah vicinity around Cherokee County, and that's not the one I wanted to grab. Let's go ahead and take that off of there real quick. That's the one I wanted. And let's just zoom in here, and then we'll do the storm track. Got a little ahead of myself there. And again, there's our Boeing segment, and I'll switch this over to the Tulsa radar because that's going to give us a cleaner image here. And so we switch this over to Tulsa, and you can see a much cleaner image here with the radar. And we'll have to keep an eye, especially on the northern end of this. Sometimes you get little circulations that can get going on the northern end of these Boeing segments, so we have to just kind of monitor that as that continues to move off to the east. But let's do a quick storm track here. Again, main concern with this, that's coming right into Tahlequah at the moment, will be winds up to about 60 miles per hour, maybe some small hail with this as it continues to track off to the east. So Ellerville, we're looking at 146, Rocky Ford at about 146 as well, Welling 147, Briggs 149, Carter's Landing at about 150, and Kenwood at about 150 as well. And again, you can see many more communities here east of where those communities that are listed there. Again, just downwind here or downstream, still could be looking at 60 miles per hour wind gusts as this continues to push off to the east. So I'll remove that real quick. Let's pan a little farther here down the line, and you can see those thunderstorms very heavy here coming right across I-40 here from Warner to around Gore and Weber's Falls. We've got some very heavy rain moving through, perhaps some small hail right across I-40 at the moment. I'm going to switch this back over to the Fort Smith radar, and we'll get the reflectivity because now we're down here a little farther south, and the Fort Smith radar will be able to read this a lot better. So again, there you can see back to here over parts of Haskell County and down into Latimer County, still numerous severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing here, and tornado warning should be dropped here any moment now. So again, just kind of watching areas here. We've had a little bit of circulation trying to show up here on the leading edge, but thankfully it has not organized enough to produce another tornado warning. But we just have to monitor that because the air ahead of these storms certainly has been favorable for the potential that we could have perhaps some rotation within these storms as they continue to move off to the east and to the north and east. And the other concern with these, of course, the flash flood threat. We've had a lot of heavy rain with these showers and storms, and those rainfall totals have been adding up. If you live in a flood-prone area, definitely want to make sure that you are ready to go to higher ground if you need to. And it does look like our tornado warning has since been dropped as we've hit 145. Right now we've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings across the area, so we aren't going to, again, go anywhere. We're going to continue to monitor these storms, but what we may do is now that that tornado warning has been dropped, we may go back to regular programming here shortly. I do, though, want to point out that we've still got more storms here farther to the south. I'm going to switch this back over to the Oklahoma City radar. Tornado warning down here around the Ardmore area. So these storms down here will continue to track off to the north and to the east. So we'll have to watch whatever develops back here to our south and west closely. Again, we do have a tornado watch that's in effect until 7 o'clock in the morning. We still have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing here, so we'll be back to check in every once in a while to give you an update on some of these severe thunderstorm warnings, and of course continue to monitor any potential that we could have another tornado form. Brandon, it's been a long evening for us and now into the early morning of Easter Sunday. What else have you got for us?
Well, certainly, Michael, you talked about that flash flooding concern all across eastern Oklahoma. We just got word from the Okmulgee Emergency Management Center that alternate 75, just to the west of regular 75, is shut down in both directions right now because of flash flooding. That flash flood warning from the National Weather Service goes all the way through 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, just within that area along alternate Highway 75, 2.3 inches of that rain over the past 3 hours, so just amazing. Zooming out, you can see all those flash flood warnings all across green country in those green polygons, and the rainfall rates there, especially in that squall line from that heavy to extreme that continues to go in throughout far eastern Oklahoma right now, and especially it will go in throughout Missouri and Arkansas over the next couple of hours. Zooming down, especially in those yellow pockets there from around Muskogee up towards OK, just around Wagner and just to the east, that's going to be our really heavy rain and flood potential that's occurring right now. And as Michael mentioned, we have that flood watch from the National Weather Service for the entire 2 News forecast area until 7 p.m. this evening. So several inches of rain, when all is said and done, tallied up across our area, Michael.
Yeah, Brandon, it's again, maybe even into tomorrow morning, more showers and storms moving on through. I should say now this morning, now that we're past midnight, and it may take until mid-afternoon before we finally get this system to get on out of here. So more rain, as you mentioned, certainly going to be adding up. Here's another look. We'll get another quick scan here through our line of storms, but as long as we don't have a tornado warning pop up, eventually here we're going to go back to regular programming. But real quick here, let's just go through this. Let me switch this back over to the Fort Smith radar, and we'll get a look here at some of these storms. Let's zoom in just a little closer, and we'll just one more time here kind of get a look at what we've got here from Latimer County. You can see severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here, potential for 6 per hour wind gusts, perhaps some 1-inch hail. We've been doing some scans here in some of these hail cores and getting hail potentially up to about 1 inch and maybe even 1.5 inches in diameter as this hail core came across the north of Wilburton. Let's just do a real quick scan here again of that. Looks like that has come down just a little bit. We've got 1/2 inch hail, 1/2 inch hail, maybe about 1 inch in diameter hail there. So again, the hail has come down just a little bit from what we were seeing just a few minutes ago, but still potential for some severe hail up to 1 inch in diameter in some of those heavier cores embedded within this line of storms. So again, just monitoring that. Let's switch this back over to reflectivity, and we'll go ahead and take those plots off of there, and we'll scan a little farther here to the north. Again, here's our storm coming right into the Gore, Webbers Falls area, western portions now of Sequoia County, potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this approaching Vian and areas here along I-40. And we go to the north here, Tahlequah, heavy rain and storms moving through up to around Little Kansas. And this little curlicue here, we're going to have to watch this as well. I'm going to switch this back over here to the Tulsa reflectivity, where we've again, where this Boeing segment kind of arcs back here to the west. Sometimes on the northern end of this, you just going to have to watch. Potentially could get some rotation, but this is also getting pretty far north and might be getting north of our frontal boundary, where it may have a more difficult time to tap some of that more humid air. But we still have potential for strong wind gusts with this as it does move into southern portions here of Delaware County. Zooming out once again, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings here draped across areas, now mostly pushing off to the east of Highway 69. We will continue to update you as we go through the evening hours, and of course, if we get a tornado warning, we will be on the air and continue with wall-to-wall coverage. But for now, since we don't have a tornado warning, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled program, but we're not going to go anywhere. Still here monitoring those storms, and we'll have updates throughout the early morning.